Hi, today I'm redoing the seats that came out of the 60. They're original seats. They seem to be in pretty good shape. So far I've taken the old material off. I got down to the burlap that protects against the springs. It seems to be in pretty good shape, so I'm leaving that in place. And currently I am cleaning up the seat. This is the back seat. And as you can tell, it is in pretty decent shape as far as seats go. The burlap was in good shape, so I left it. I am currently cleaning up the seats and going to reuse some of the wiring that is in place. The fabric is deteriorated, so I'm gonna have to clean that up. So that's my part now, is just strapping it down. I don't think this seat has anything left to save. I won't know that totally until I get the top off right here, but I really don't think anything is going to be savable on this one. I will be using this material here for the padding on the seat, then covering with burlap, and then my fabric I'll be using for this seat covering will be an Indian blanket. Wish me luck. I wanted to do a real quick video on how I cover my door panels. I finished this one this morning. When you pick out your fabric, make sure it's got a little bit of a give. Right now I'm using a gray vinyl. I use a high temp adhesive. The one I'm using is a headliner adhesive. It'll work for all the other panels. That's what I've always used. When you go to cover, make sure you label really good on this side is going to be covered, this side is not. That way you don't get confused, because once you get them out of the car, they can be confusing. So this side is the cover side. I would spray a little bit of the glue, nice and even strokes on the door panel. I would smooth it out, maybe even put a little bit of weight on it. It does take a minute to dry, and it will react better if you give it a second before you put the fabric on. You know, let the glue set for just a second. Once it is dry and it is set, you will cut little strips and pull them tight so that this side is smooth. Now, I normally put a little bit of glue on this edge as well. Now, I do take some tape and I pull it tight, tape it down. This side is not seen, and I don't have time to sit and hold to wait for that glue to dry to hold it in place. So I'll just tape it down, leave it. It normally does well. Now, when you're laying out your door pieces or your panels, whatever it may be, make sure you lay them out where you know how much fabric you're going to be using, that you're not wasting fabric, because you know fabric is expensive. But you do want to make sure that you have just a little bit on the edges, a good where you can fold over. Make sure that would be good and covered and that sort of thing. I always kind of lay out to give myself an idea of where I'm going to cut that fabric to fold over that door panel. Okay, so now I've cut my section. This is the side that I'm covering. I've laid it out, kind of eyeballed where I want it to be. Make sure that you have enough on your sides. This will probably be too much. I'll probably cut some of that off. But you want a good, you know, little bit, inch, 2 inches on your sides. On these little corners here, it'll be tight to pull, but you do want to make sure that you have enough to come up and fold over. Take your glue and spray this side that's going to be covered. All right. And like I said, I'll let that sit for just a few minutes, because then it'll become more tacky than just runny. Okay, now my glue is real tacky. So I'm going to lay this down on my fabric. Smoothing out the wrinkles. And then, like I said, you may want to put something that's a little weighted to keep it down. Keep that in place until it's had a time to dry, and then we'll go and tie down the edges. Okay, now that's had a time to dry, to sit for a few minutes. So now what you'll do is you'll cut little slits in this fabric to make sure that you can pull it up and make a nice smooth edge. Like I said, this fabric has a little bit of a give, so you'll make sure to hold your wood in place, pull up and over. So I'll add just a little bit of glue. I like to cut just a few just because I like that glue to sit for a second before I start pulling it. But like I said, you want to make sure your split is not too far down that it's going to be seen on the seam of your wood. Okay, I've sprayed, I've let it sit. So like I said, I take just a little strip of tape and I will fold this around, making sure that it is up and over and tight. And then I'll hold it in place, put a little bit of tape down nice and tight to hold that in place. And like I said, some of the glue will bubble over. It is fine. It'll probably help when you go down the other side, or that the tape has a little bit of glue on it. It holds it quite nice. Now, I will say when you do a bigger panel or a door panel, or you use really stretchy fabric, 2 people working on it at the same time is a lot better than 1. And I've got it pulled tight, and I've got a nice edge on it here. This side didn't hold as well. So I'll just lift it up, pull it tighter. Put the tape back down. So it'll hold that nice edge. I'll just go all the way around. I wanted to show before I went on, these are the door cards, the door panels. These are repopped. I have already cut my fabric to fit where I can fold over and glue it down. I just wanted to make sure that when you do this, make sure after you get it glued down, make sure you kind of go around and make a little hole if you're going to need that hole, so you'll know where it's at. These are already where you can screw them in and all these, and I'm sure he's going to need what's already there. So I'm going to make sure that I have that in place and that I've got a good amount of glue around, especially because whatever goes through sure will hold that fabric in place, but make sure you've got a good amount of glue in that place.
And this is what it looks like with its seats and its door panels done. Hey guys, well, we went on the 60, still chunking away at that interior. We've about got her all finished up now. So I'll show you inside the car, show you what it's looking like. It's looking pretty good. We'll talk about this a little bit. The inside of this thing, I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. Got the steering wheel on. Got the new shifter and blinker switch in. Well, that steering wheel is just sharp on that black dash. And man, she really did a good job with this Indian blanket. She really did a good job sewing those seats up. Don't mind my Looney Tune floor mats. The carpet looks really good. These door panels, they turned out really good in this car. Back door panel. Really nice. The back deck. Got a new dome light up there in the headliner. We got all the metal trim back on now. The only thing that I really got left on that inside is mounting that. I need to mount that switch for the air ride, the actual 2 gauges. I've got that to do. I've got to mount that. I'm going to put in a gauge for the air tank. I need to do that. I need to put in a gauge for the air tank. I need to do that. Yep. I've got that, and I've got a couple of small pieces here and there just to fill in some spots that need to be done. We've got a couple of pieces back here around these back windows. I'll show you that. If you look down in here, and that's what I mean by a filler piece. You see that? We need to put a strip, which I'll make out of that wood, and we'll cover it with a black leather. And then I'm going to do something around the back deck back there. So other than that, the inside is done, and the car is looking pretty good. I think that we'll have this thing done probably in the next weekend. I've been doing a few other things too. Put the trim on back here on this deck lid. I've got to make some clips for some of the other trim. But yeah, overall, the car is looking really good right now. As far as being completed in time for the Redneck Rumble, I'm not seeing any issues with that right now. Bubba's car looks like it's going to be good and ready to go. Got some odds and ends left that we need to tie up, but I figured, you know, since we're this far along into this interior now and it's pretty much done, we would talk about this interior a little bit. And I'm going to take you down in here and show you the carpet. Of course, we did the video on the carpet. We didn't do a real video per se how-to on these door panels and stuff. I hit it on that when I done the kick panels, and the door panels basically done the same way, but on my Cadillac they're done identical with that wood. These just happen to be with the car. These cardboard pre-made repop door panels just happened to be with the car when I got it, so we just used that. But if I had made them, they would have looked the same. Out of the wood, actually been a little bit more durable than the cardboard. I figured we could probably talk a little bit about doing that interior. This car here is a rat rod. I mean, I tried to keep it in that rat rod fashion and use the Indian blankets and things like that. We dolled it up a little bit, and everybody's perception of a rat rod is different. Mine is more of bring what you got and do the best you can with what you got. We don't have a ton of money to throw in these cars. If you have an old car like this, just sprucing up the interior like that and redoing your seats and carpet and stuff, it's very doable. It's very doable. It's not hard to do. It's a little bit of trial and error on some things, and you know, making those templates, it's not hard. Anybody can do this, and it's relatively cheap, because I mean, if you go and you have a custom interior done, you're going to spend way out the nose, depending on how, you know, fancy you want to get with it. So I mean, doing it yourself this way, me and her was kind of talking about it. We're probably in this car, inside of this car and out, for probably around 500 bucks, I guess. Now I did change the steering wheel, put a fancier steering wheel on it. I changed the gear shifter, the blinker switch. I didn't have to. I just didn't like the fact that the ones that were in there were all rusty, and I wanted that black dash to kind of pop. If I'm gonna go through all the, you know, the headache of painting that dash, then obviously I want it to pop, you know. And I mean, it's basically just gluing that fabric, you know, on there and cutting it to fit and gluing it on. Now we can look over here in old blue. My wife done the bottoms of the door panel on this truck for Bubba, and he has more of a print style and all this stuff, and she done the headliner same to match it, and he's running the classic bench seat cover in this truck. He's got a nicer steering wheel in this truck, that wood grain. It looks really nice. And we added this new dash pad. It's about 100 bucks, and we did a little painting on this dash, not a lot, and we did a little bit of cleaning on it. We painted the bezel around all the instruments, and he added a new piece of glass in there for the instrument cluster. Cleaned all that out, and he got him some window visors out of the junkyard, and we re-dyed them. So I mean, now trucks are a lot easier. I mean, there's not much there to do. You get into these bigger cars, there's a lot more a lot more real estate I have to deal with. So I mean, this stuff's pretty simple. We just started doing it, and you know, when we mess it up, we just redo it. We'd watch YouTube, things like that, just trial and error basically. And this is just stuff that I feel like anybody can do. It's not that hard, but like I said, it can be trial and error. If you got an old car, like I said, and you want to just put a little makeup on the interior, these are good ways to do that. A little bit of that fabric and vinyl paint dye, some rattle can on the metal parts, and clean it and clear coat it real good, and maybe even a little fabric and some glue. You can really make one go a long way with just that stuff right there. But the 60, I'm trying to keep it within a certain feel. I wanted that rat rod style out of this car, and even though my Cadillac's a rat rod, I wanted this to be something completely out of the box. Typically, personally, I gravitate towards 50 model cars, late 40s and into the 50s, and I like all cars, but for my personal preference, I really like cars in the 50s. I like the body styles. Now Bubba, he likes the 60s and the 70s, and you know, that's cool. I like them all. But if I'm gonna build one, I prefer it to be, you know, no newer than 60. But like I said, I wanted this car to have a different feel than the Cadillac, and buddy, it sure does. That thing, it's cool. It is old school cool. But like that that interior. We done that. I just used screws and, like I showed you before, just a real thin wood to cut the panels and things like that, and then just some basic spray on glue from the fabric store. Anybody can get this stuff relatively cheap, and we're trying to get this car ready. I'm real pleased with the way it's going. Real pleased with the way it's going. We're going to have it ready, I believe, no problem for the Redneck Rumble. We'll take quite a bit of video. And I know you've probably seen a sneak peek of the golf cart sitting back here behind me. We'll be taking this to the Redneck Rumble so we don't have to walk. I'm way lazy. Don't want to walk. Don't want to walk it. It's huge. So, we're going to get some pretty good video out there at the Redneck Rumble. Couple weeks. I'm looking forward to it. And hopefully the 60 is going to be a well-liked car out there. I hadn't had that car out other than just driving it home. I have drove it around the neighborhood a few times. I have done that. But it's not really been out since we've redone the suspension and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to really, you know, getting it out there and driving it, you know, getting some time in on it. I'm hoping we can finish that thing up, you know, this weekend early. There's a car show I'd like to take it to, and I'd like to get some video driving the car out there. I know a lot of people enjoyed that video we made going up to the Moonshine Rod Run when we drove the Cadillac up there. And that's cool. I really like doing those kind of videos. I really like doing the car show videos and talking to people, you know, and seeing what they're building. Man, you can get a lot of inspiration, and you can learn a lot of things just by listening to somebody talk about how they done their particular build. And it may not always be the way you do it, and that's cool. That's fine. But you can always learn something, or I can anyway. So the 60 inside, I believe, is good. We're going to make a couple of parts. I'll show those parts next time we're on film with it. Just like 3 filler pieces is all I like. So, and mounting the air gauges and stuff. So we'll get that done this week, and then we'll be, you know, headed to the Redneck Rumble. Looking forward to that. Look forward to that every year. And that's what it's all about with these old cars, is getting them out and driving them and, you know, enjoying them. And working on them and talking to other people about working on them. But I still need to do the trunk. I've not done the trunk in this car, not like the one in my Cadillac. So I'll show you inside here. It's, you know, there's my air compressor, my air tank. It's not finished by no means. It's got a moving blanket. I would like to throw some carpet and maybe a little paint in here before we went, but realistically I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to open the trunk. And that's like for the hood too. I'm not going to open the hood on this car. I am, however, going to dress it. It just won't be dressed to the nines like my Cadillac is. I just don't see the need for it. I like when the car is aired out and laying on the ground. To me, it looks better with the hood and the trunk lid down. I feel like it takes away from the appeal or look of the car with it up. That's my opinion. You know, people want to see under the hood. I got no problem with raising it. But, you know, for now, till this winter anyway, we'll just let that lie. I'm going to do that engine bay a lot different from the Cadillac also. The Cadillac's got a lot of aluminum parts, a lot of bling, a lot of jewelry. I don't think this car needs that. I'm going to do just a basic orange engine all over, maybe a black air cleaner, maybe an old school air cleaner. I may do a video on that. I may take an old school air cleaner and adapt it to this motor, make a bottom plate for it and stuff. May do a video on that. That'd be cool. Paint it to match the engine. Just repaint the fender wells, stuff like that. But for now, it's okay. I'll go ahead and show you under the hood. We'll raise the hood here. I've got it popped anyway. Right, here we go. And as you can see, it's just your basic 350. It's nasty under here. All except for the new power disc brakes. So I'd like to put, you know, some paint, clean these hoses, clean these wires out, straighten everything up, clean it, get some new paint on everything, get all those spark plug wires banded up nice and things like that. And we'll do that, but it'll probably be this winter. So I will probably do a video this fall or winter on that, because there's a lot of different ways to go about that. And I've been watching some videos on YouTube about people actually brush painting those engines, and I kind of like that idea. I think we may do a video and just try that out, since I've never done it. I'm really big into trying things out that I see like that I think, because when you start trying to spray one of those engines that's in the car like that, and you got to tape everything up, it's typically a disaster. So I would like to, you know, I would like to try something different, and we may try that. I've been talking about that for quite some time. Ever since I got this car, I've been talking about doing that. So we may do that. I think that that would be a cool video. And that's pretty much going to wrap up the series on the inside of this car. I'll probably do 1-2 more videos. I think in this video I'm going to drop some pictures, because I wasn't filming when I got the car. I wasn't doing YouTube at that time. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to be doing YouTube this long. And I had said from the get-go, you know, hey, if we keep getting subscribers and people seem interested in it, I'll keep doing it. And we've steadily got more and more subscribers all the time, and a lot of people around this area anyway that are doing these cars have really supported me in this, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that watches the videos, and I really appreciate everybody that subscribes. I can't say enough how much I appreciate you guys for watching these videos. And if you learn something, you know, hit the comments. Or if you see me doing something that you do a different way or do better, and you know a way I can improve my game, please let me know. Or a quicker way. So with that being said, I just want to say I appreciate everybody that's watching the videos and everybody that's subscribed. So we're going to keep doing this thing. So be looking for the build series on doing the airbags on Bubba's Thunderbird. That's coming up. We've got a Bronco we're going to start sometime this winter. That's going to be coming up. And I've got the old 56 wagon up there wanting to get back to work on for my wife. So that'll be coming up. And there's going to be a lot more car show stuff coming up too. And a lot more interviews with people on what they're working on and what they have and what they like. So stay tuned. I appreciate everybody. I hope you enjoyed the build series on this 60. And we'll see you guys next time. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good jazz. Smash that like button and leave a comment. And we can see here come the dogs right in the middle of my shot, chasing the horses. Well, we'll get a good shot of that, I guess. They love to run those horses. Well, till next time, guys. Hey, don't buy it if you can build it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.